In the fall of 1982, I went to New York City on a business trip. I stayed at a friend's house. While I was there, I heard about a good friend of mine, Paul Mcclain, who was channeling people's guides. I stayed at one of my best friend's house, Mark and Geraldine. They told me how Paul Mcclain had these incredible experiences over a period of a year and a half. At first I was skeptical and really had no clue in what they were talking about. I could care less about talking with some person who had been on Earth, left his body, and communicated from the other side. Well, I learned there's a lot more than that. Since Paul and I were friends, I wanted to check it out. I wanted to be open. Maybe something greater would come my way. I met with Paul, and he told me that for a year and a half he would leave his body. In this state, strange things would happen to him. He would hear voices and talk to guides from another dimension. He thought he was going crazy. Over time, he learned more about these experiences and came to terms with his experience. He had the ability to channel a person's guide. At this particular time in my development, I was only aware of my experience as God as a form of infinite energy. God was light, it was sound, it was the Word of God. My realm of experience was a completely different nature. For years, Paul also had these kinds of experiences. He loved to meditate also. In my first meeting with my guides, Paul was put into a trance. It was like falling asleep. He would drift away and this incredible being would come in. His whole being would change. His voice would change to male or female depending on the guide who was present. I was completely blown away. The information that came through was incredible. I knew it wasn't Paul because of the details of my life being described. Paul knew me, but the information that came through was very personal. Paul didn't have a clue about my life in the past. I developed a strong sense of communication with my guides. They prophesied many events in my life. One of them was about that soon in the future I would meet this entity named Mahu. He was an enlightened Lord who would come and channeled by a female. I was directed to move to California. This indeed did come true. The experience came at a time that Amaji wasn't even channeling Mahu. I know a lot of people have a hard time with the channeling experience. It's true some people go to channeling so other guides can make decisions for them about their life. But my experience was different. The information that I received was incredible. I developed a relationship with my friends on the other side. Because we are so material, we have lost touch with our acute senses. Man has the ability to be aware of different dimensions. A lot of people in mental hospitals aren't crazy. They truly hear voices. Because our society can't grasp or understand these experiences, we brand them as crazy. Oracles have been around for thousands of years. I went to Paul probably 10 times in a 10-year period. All in all, I had an incredible time. I learned a lot about myself. A lot of sessions were like a psychoanalyst session. I learned how to begin to deal more directly with my life. I took the reins of my life and began to direct it in a more direct fashion. I became my own teacher. I put more faith and trust inside of myself. In the past, I would look at teachers for my guidance. I began to look at myself for my own inner guidance. I learned that God helps those first who help themselves. Below is a small excerpt of my first meeting with Paul. There are no accidents. All things which come to pass are under the will of the Almighty. The one is of good heart and of good will and of an open heart will find there's no end to the workings of the Almighty. There's never a time when your amazement will cease at the wonder of the Almighty. Always there will be new and uncharted borders. Always old things will fall away, and new and brighter, greater things will come to pass. And a time will come when all things, all present consciousness and awareness will fall away to bear a more complete and new state of consciousness awareness. And the old falling away will feel much like death, and the new will feel much like a rebirth into divine kingdom. It is always this way in the workings of the great God. There will never be a time for one who is of good heart and open heart and goodwill when love for his Creator will cease. There will be times when you wish to thank and times when you wish to hate. and times you wish to cease your existence for pain of longing and time, when you would wish your existence to go on forever. And times you feel neglected, and times you feel the favorite son of the Almighty. The Lord Almighty will move your experience itself to make fall away all present understanding. You must not fear this death, for beyond this death of this sort is always new life, as you learned many times to this point. At times your love will be strained and felt as though it is being tested. This will be given to you by the Lord Almighty, and at times it will feel as though you can't make any step without the sense of grace behind even the smallest thing that you do. There will be times when come which you will ask yourself, where have I stepped awry? And at these times you must remember, you have been guided to precisely to the point where you have found yourself by the workings of Almighty Divine Father. Your faith is strong, for you are good-will and good heart and open heart. You are this way because the Lord has given you this to you. And yet it is time, as always is time, for ever-strengthening bond, an ever-greater love, an ever-fervent desire, going more in each period of more and more fervent love, which enables you to carry and be about the service of the Father. For in all doings you must request, not simply know, but request that you may serve, that your moment be of service, that your life may be given greater purpose. In each moment, the service of the Almighty. And in each moment, you must ask for knowledge that you are not alone, for it is not enough to know it, but is more to ask. And having been asked to thank, and having thanked to ask again, and to offer yourself in that way which the Lord would have yourself serve. Your will and the Lord's will be of the same intent, for it is of the Lord's mercy that you are allowed and all allowed to be fulfilled in any way which they choose, so long as the love between the two remains the important thing. But those who are truly blessed, who find it within themselves to have this request of service in this way, the Lord would have you serve. This is truly a blessed thing, for even to come to this understanding is no small thing. This is perhaps the greatest level of human existence, for when the Almighty has given all free will to embark upon any road that they so choose, and one with their will, by the grace, finds it within themselves to surrender their will to that of the Almighty, regardless of the consequences, for in the surrender is the fulfillment. This is no minor thing, nor may we all even do so this thing, but these indeed are fortunate who have such a blessing to find themselves in this position. My child, you are in such a blessed state. You must always remember to be humble before God, humble before the Master, and humble before the servants of the Lord's will, giving always from your heart, from the desire to be one with the greatest thing. I am Richard, who has been called the Lion-Hearted, and you and I are a part of each other. Indeed, it may be said that you and I are the same. Indeed, it may be said that at one time we were not apart, but at one time we were the same being. But as time continues, the soul finds in its multiple parts different aspirations. Your aspirations has its duty here, while mine has my duty elsewhere. We serve in our ways as the Lord would have us serve. I here, and you there.